What's up, guys? James Palms here. Just making a video on what's the best palm tree to put in the ground if you live in a place where you can't grow a palm tree. Now, I'm going to say something crazy, and I think that a lot of people are going to disagree with me. Everybody, typically, when they want to plant a palm tree and they live somewhere where they can't, and they're going to do winter protection, if you guys are in of any forums on Facebook or anything like that, you'll know that every person says to plant a windmill palm, Trachycarpus fortunei. This is the gold standard. They can take minus 14 Celsius. They can take minus 10 Celsius for a long period of time. And they look beautiful, and they're very small. They got a small stature. They're very easy to protect. So sorry about the kids. It's a water park here. The kids were playing earlier today, and I just never took it down yet. They're gonna come back in. Just taking a quick break because it's so hot. It's about 33 Celsius, so 93 Fahrenheit today. So very hot, and it was just too much sun, and I have to take a break. But it might actually be too loud here with this on. But anyways, this is the Mexican fan palm, and I'm gonna make the argument right now that this is actually a better palm to plant. I'll just go over to my one I grew from seed over here so that it's a little bit more quiet. But everybody will say this. Now, yes, it's a lot smaller of a palm, a lot easier to protect, but you can cut all the fronds off of that palm. You can cut literally them all off except for the center one, and you could even cut the center one off, but you might as well leave like one, the center spears and stuff coming out. But you can cut them all off, and that makes it a much smaller box and easier to protect. And I actually didn't find it was crazy hard last year to squeeze these all up. Like, it was hard. I put on a sweater, and I went from the bottom, and I rolled my arms up, and I had a bungee cord around my hands, and I was able to get them closed, even with not as many fronds as on it right now, but still quite a few. And so between the two palms that I would say, because from my experience, is a windmill palm like this or like this, you can put these into a lot of shade and they can go back into full sun. And the same thing with Mexican fan palm. There's certain other palms, I don't know about them, if they can take, these are the ones I've experimented with, and this is my favorite two palms. But in hindsight, I actually wouldn't have planted these. Me personally, windmills, they get beat up by wind. They look a little thin, dainty. They look a little ratty, really, at times. I'm not a huge fan. I don't mind the hair. Like, a lot of people say they like the hairy trunks or they don't like them or whatever. I'm not a huge fan of it. I don't really care either way. But to me, they look thin. They look a little bit like the canopies aren't as grand. I mean, they are grand on some of them. They get a lot bigger and a lot fuller as they get really old. Here, though, when you're growing them, you're going to be having times where you mess up. I mean, I've been doing this for a while, but you have times when you mess up and the palm is going to get some damage. And so you're not always going to have a giant canopy. And if they were a really, really giant canopy, now granted, mine are in almost full day sun, so that the leaves are going to be small and the canopy is going to be smaller. But if you had them in a bit of shade and they were growing bigger canopies and they looked just beautiful, I'm sure they're giant in some areas, but the bulk of the ones you're getting here, especially from growing in the northeast U.S. or Canada, they're going to be coming from Florida or South Carolina. They're going to be skinnier trunk. They're going to be very, they're getting too much sun and things. Not too much sun, but they just get a lot of sun, so they grow smaller and tighter fronds. Nevertheless, I'm not a wicked fan of them. I find that even in places where they grow very well, I watch obviously a lot of Banana Joe videos, and I find the canopies have lots of holes. They don't look as thick and full. The leaves are not nearly as nice colored, not as grand. They don't stay together in a full fan as nicely. And for all the reasons, I just like these a lot better. And the biggest thing to me is that these palms are so much faster growing and so much cheaper. A Trachycarpus with fortunei with about 5 to 6 feet of trunk, which those had when I got them, about 10 feet tall with about 6 foot of trunk, is around $1,000. Usually a Trachy is around $100 per foot minimum. So you're talking about a $600-700 tree, but usually a foot overall. So you're talking about $1,000 palm, $800 palm, whatever. They're very slow growing. This is at least a 10-year-old plant. So somebody had to have it for 10 years. If you were to get a Mexican fan palm with 5-6 feet of growth, you can get one for $500 easily. That's delivered here to me in Ontario. I can get them down in Florida. You can buy it. It's probably not even a $200 plant. I mean, you're talking, you can get them for, easily $20 a foot, and that's what personal people are buying them for. You could probably get them much cheaper. But regardless, I mean, they just grow so much faster and quicker and vigorous. They're more beautiful. So I'm going to make the argument right now. I'm going to say that I think this is actually the better palm for people if you're going to protect it. Because in my opinion, if you're going to put a box over your palm and you're going to protect it and you're keeping it from freezing temperature, so you're putting a thermal cube with some Christmas lights on it and you're keeping it basically above 32. You're keeping it, it's going on at 35 off at 45. So if you're keeping your plant above that, what is the difference if the plant can take -10? As long as you do it at the right time, it's not really going to matter. Like if this plant, you can't let this see -10 or -15 because it's going to die. Yes, you could let the trachea, if you had one cold day and you didn't want to get around to protecting it, then you didn't protect it, and then it took a -10, and then you would be fine, and then protect it the next day, let's say, or it starts getting into your winter. But if you're in a marginal zone, or even if you're in a really cold zone where you can't grow it, like here where I am in zone 6, just if you're going to keep it from freezing anyways, what's the difference? Just make sure you get enough Christmas lights and enough heat, and even if you lose all the leaves and it defoliates, or if you cut them off or whatever, it'll grow it out so much quicker in the spring that as long as they're in the ground and well established, it will grow it out so fast that it won't really matter. It doesn't matter. Whereas when you damage one of these guys, like I damaged this one this past winter, it's now late August. It's the 22nd of August. So now it's grown. This one's growing very fast too. This is actually my fastest growing windmill palm, and it's put out maybe 6 or 7 fronds, and it looks a lot nicer. It had like only 3 or 4, and they were all burnt and looked like crap. You can still see some of them on there in the spring. So yeah, like it will grow it out, and it looks nice towards the end of the year. But it basically takes the whole year to get even a decent canopy, and that's not even really. I'm not happy with that canopy. I like it to be like you can see. I'll walk back here. So I like it to be thicker and fuller than that. And that's going to take, like this had a giant canopy, but I had one mistake. The Christmas lights weren't coming on, or there wasn't enough bulbs in there, I think it was. But nevertheless, it got very cold in there, -20 or colder, and a lot of the leaves died off. So now it's going to take me like 2 years to get that canopy back. Whereas if this happened, it's only going to take, a short period of time, a few months. Typically, it's going to take a month or two, and it'll have a nice amount of leaves that will, for instance, this palm right here has grown maybe 6 leaves, whereas this one back here has grown 16 to 20 leaves, Mexican fan palm. So that's what I'm saying anyways. They grow so much faster, and the leaves are larger. Like they look better even with very few leaves on them, because the leaves are so giant and so grand that they really make a big statement in the garden, in my opinion. So favorite palm, obviously, if you've watched this channel, you'll know that that's my favorite palm. And you can have these palms, like this palm here. I can have a palm as big as this, or that looks grander than this, a palm like that in like 5 years from seed, from me bringing the seed home for free and paying nothing for the palm. Whereas, or even if you buy it and you're too impatient, even if you buy one this size, and you can enjoy it over the years and watch it grow. And the growth is very rewarding, and it's very fun to watch it grow, and they're easier to grow, and I find there's less deficiencies as well. I find that like from me growing them, I find that windmills require much more fertilizer to keep themselves green, that they start to yellow if they get low on fertilizer and things. They're a much hungrier plant, more like a banana, where they do require lots of food, whereas these guys here, I find that they don't require that much food at all. But nevertheless, the more you feed them, the faster they grow, so they'll grow nicer, and I have them everywhere, of course. But bring home some seed and grow one, and then you can have a nice, beautiful palm tree for free. And if you're going to protect it, or even if you're growing in an area where you're not sure, anywhere, this is just one of the best, most versatile palms. It can take a lot of humidity, it can take a lot of cold, it can take a lot of wet weather, it can take a lot of wet roots, it can take a lot of dry roots, it can take, it's salt tolerant, it's cold tolerant, it's tolerant of everything. It's a weed, and it grows amazing. So I think this is the best palm. And in hindsight, I probably only would have planted these. I would have just bought slightly taller ones, maybe. Not getting rid of them. Not saying I don't love the windmills. I still do love them. I'm not knocking on them that much. But I don't like them as much. I like the Mexican fan palm, Washingtonia robusta, more than the windmill Trachycarpus fortunei. So that's my argument. I'm sure you get lots of people to disagree, but I think it's the better palm to grow in a colder climate if you're gonna do it. Anyways, these guys can take around -6 to -7, from what I've heard. I've seen them take -7 Celsius without damage. I've had my own personal ones in -3 without in a pot. That one actually that's in the ground right there has seen -3 in a pot, and it was fine. So they can definitely take some cold. How much? I've seen it get damaged with a bunch of frost sort of piling up on it, whereas these guys don't tend to. But it just depends if you're going to protect them. I mean, why not? So anyways, yeah, and these guys are going to take, I would say, around -10. I've had mine take -8, and they were fine at -8. So nice cloud just came out, shielded me from a bit of the sun. It's crazy hot and humid today, very, very humid, about 33 Celsius. So yeah, quite toasty. I'm getting a little sunburn here too, so it's actually lovely having a nice cloud come over, but mostly still blue skies and only last a little bit. So just thought I'd do a quick video on that, and let me know, like and subscribe, and comment down below if you feel differently or if you feel the same, or either way. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Later.